When Tim Allen's Hollywood Hills estate hit the market, it was expected to be just another glamorous celebrity listing. But as curious buyers and real estate experts got a closer look, shocking details started to unfold. Hidden rooms, unreported renovations, and strange financial discrepancies soon began to paint a picture far darker than the one fans had of the home improvement star. The questions grew louder. What was truly happening behind the mansion's high gates? It wasn't just unusual, it was downright unsettling. The estate that raised eyebrows. Tim Allen's Hollywood Hills estate wasn't just another luxurious celebrity mansion. It was a fortress of mystery that raised more than a few questions. High above Los Angeles, the sprawling home offered breathtaking views of the canyon and city skyline. But once you stepped past the lavish exterior, an eerie truth began to emerge. For years, whispers surrounded Allen's estate, fueled by quiet speculation. To the outside world, it appeared to be an architectural gem, a sanctuary blending mid-century modern design with rustic charm. Expansive floor-to-ceiling windows, polished wooden panels, and a master suite that rivaled the most exclusive hotel rooms were just some of its impressive features. Yet, visitors often described an unsettling stillness within the home, a strange feeling that something was being deliberately hidden. Was it the sheer size of the mansion, with its maze-like corridors and rooms that never seemed to connect as they should? Or perhaps it was the fact that certain parts of the estate were completely off-limits, even to longtime staff and close friends. One housekeeper, who had worked there for over a decade, confessed that she had never stepped into certain areas of the house, despite cleaning nearly every other corner. It wasn't simply the locked doors she found odd. It was the unnerving sense that asking about them was something you just didn't do. Estate experts were just as puzzled. While the Hollywood Hills are known for eccentric properties, Allen's mansion seemed to defy all logic. Renovations were delayed, architectural plans changed without explanation, and property records were strangely vague. Rumors swirled that previous owners of the land had their own secrets, whispers of hidden rooms, forgotten tunnels, and concealed compartments dating back decades. But it wasn't until Allen put the property on the market that the mystery truly deepened. As potential buyers and agents toured the estate, subtle inconsistencies began to surface. Some rooms appeared larger on paper than they did in reality, while others seemed to have no obvious access points. One contractor, brought in for a standard inspection, left visibly disturbed. When pressed for details, he simply said, "Something about that place just isn't right. Mansion fit for a king, or a cover-up." On paper, Tim Allen's Hollywood Hills estate was a dream home, the kind of place most people could only dream of. With an open floor plan, sleek finishes, and ample space for Hollywood parties, it had all the makings of a luxurious retreat. But beneath the grandeur, something didn't sit right. Allen had always been a private man, avoiding interviews about his personal life. This wasn't unusual for a celebrity. His level of secrecy seemed to go beyond what most would consider normal. Close associates revealed that Allen had strict rules when it came to his home. Certain wings of the house were off-limits to visitors, and security measures were tighter than most government facilities. Multiple layers of biometric access, reinforced walls in seemingly unnecessary areas, and cameras monitoring every inch of the property raised eyebrows. These weren't just standard security protocols for a famous face. They hinted at something far more sinister. One area of particular interest was the basement, or, more accurately, what lay beneath it. Official blueprints indicated a modest lower level meant for storage and utilities. But something didn't add up. Contractors familiar with other Hollywood properties noted that the actual floor space didn't quite match the official square footage of Allen's estate. It was real estate agents who first noticed the irregularity. During a routine inspection, one buyer's representative, conducting due diligence on the property, requested an underground scan. It was a standard procedure for homes of this scale. But instead of confirming the expected foundation layout, the scan revealed something far more alarming. A hollowed-out space beneath the house, one that wasn't listed on any official documents. Allen's representatives quickly dismissed any questions, insisting it was simply a private storage area and that the actor had no obligation to disclose it. But that answer didn't sit well with the more curious minds involved in the sale. Whispers began to spread. Was this simply an overlooked feature of the property? Or was Tim Allen hiding something far darker? One prospective buyer reportedly walked out midway through the tour, visibly shaken. When asked what had made him uncomfortable, they simply said, "I don't know what's in that house, but I don't want to find out." Even more disturbing, some of Allen's closest friends admitted he rarely spoke about the estate. Unlike other celebrities who flaunted their luxurious homes, Allen remained strikingly secretive about his own. But the biggest red flag came from an unexpected source. A former security guard, employed to monitor the property during the night, revealed in an anonymous statement, "I don't know what was in there, but I can tell you Tim Allen never wanted anyone to find it. As the sale process dragged on, tensions mounted. It seemed inevitable that someone would eventually uncover the truth. And when they did, it would change everything. On the surface, Tim Allen's garage appeared exactly as expected from a successful Hollywood actor and car enthusiast. A pristine showroom filled with classic automobiles, muscle cars, and rare motorcycles. Known for his love of hot rods and vintage vehicles, Allen frequently spoke about his collection in interviews, proudly showcasing his passion for restoring and maintaining his prized machines. Those who had seen the garage up close couldn't shake the feeling that something was. For starters, the garage was far larger than what the property records indicated. First glance, it seemed like a typical, well-organized space for storing cars. But sharp-eyed visitors soon noticed subtle structural inconsistencies that raised more questions than answers. One real estate consultant working on the sale later confessed, "I've been in countless celebrity garages before, but this one, it had a different energy. There were parts of it that felt off-limits." The biggest red flag came from the garage pit, a mechanic's dream feature meant for working on vehicles from below. Normally, these pits are basic, straightforward structures. But Allen's was deeper than necessary, constructed with materials far sturdier than required for basic car repairs. One contractor, hired to inspect the home's foundation before the sale, noticed the irregularity and pushed for further investigation. But before the inspection could proceed, Allen's team abruptly halted it. "This is disturbing," the contractor later admitted. "There was no reason to stop the inspection unless they didn't want us to see something." And then, there were the missing items. Despite Allen's reputation as a car collector, several visitors noticed that key vehicles were nowhere to be found. Cars that Allen had flaunted in past interviews had seemingly disappeared. Some assumed they had been sold off, but there was no record of those sales. More troubling were the items discovered in the garage, or, more accurately, the ones that were missing. In one corner, a stack of faded boxes sat, each labeled with strange coded markings. One particularly observant real estate assistant caught a glimpse inside an open box and swore she saw old VHS tapes, handwritten notes, and what appeared to be aged classified documents. What was Allen keeping in his garage? And more importantly, why go to such lengths to keep people out? The panic room nobody knew about. If the garage sparked questions, the discovery of the panic room turned those questions into full-blown alarm bells. Nearly every celebrity mansion features a form of security system, and many high-profile estates include safe rooms, secure areas designed to protect homeowners in emergencies. But what made Allen's panic room so unusual was the extreme lengths taken to keep it hidden. First, the room wasn't even acknowledged by the real estate agents handling the sale. It wasn't until an architect reviewing the home's layout noticed an unexplained void, a dead space in the house with no clear function or access point. It was bizarre, one architect said. There was a whole section of the house that didn't exist. At least, not officially. Through a combination of structural scans and old renovation permits, investigators pieced together the puzzle. Most panic rooms are designed to protect against external threats. But Allen's panic room wasn't like most. It wasn't built just to keep someone safe. It was built to keep something, or someone, inside. As the sale moved forward, the real estate firm requested access to all sections of the house. Allen's representatives remained silent. Shortly thereafter, a team arrived for a private inspection. By the time they got there, the entire room had been sealed off. The void that had once suggested a hidden space was now filled in. Reinforced walls, a blocked-off entrance, and no trace of its original existence remained. One agent who had seen the blueprints before the modifications was left shaken, unable to explain what had just happened. "I know what I saw. There was a space there. There was something inside that room. And now it's just gone." The haunting question that lingered over everyone involved: what was inside that panic room before it was sealed away? Discovery of hidden files and the investigation that followed would only deepen the mystery. After the unsettling discoveries in the garage and the sealed panic room, attention shifted to another strange feature of the estate. Tucked away in a lesser-used area of the house, there sat an old, unassuming filing cabinet. At first glance, it seemed like just another piece of furniture in a cluttered study. But when a prospective buyer's team began cataloging the estate's contents, they discovered that the cabinet was locked, not with a standard key, but with a high-security biometric lock. The kind usually used to protect government secrets or high-profile financial records. That was the moment when curiosity transformed into genuine concern. What could a Hollywood actor possibly have stored that would warrant such a level of security? The answer, it seemed, was something that wasn't meant to be found. When discreet inquiries were made to Allen's representatives, the response was swift and unambiguous. The cabinet was off-limits. No key would be provided. No access granted. The request to include it in the home's inventory was denied outright. It didn't take long for speculation to run wild. Former staff members, those who had worked closely in the house during Alan's residency, whispered about stacks of old tapes, handwritten documents, and envelopes so tightly sealed they looked untouched for years. Rumors began to spread that Alan had kept a meticulous record of his past, his dealings, his secrets, and perhaps even information that could shake the foundations of Hollywood. Some speculated the files contained sensitive studio dealings, internal feuds, or private correspondence that should never have existed in writing. Others feared they could be far worse. Then came the most unsettling revelation. A former estate worker, speaking anonymously, claimed to have accidentally glimpsed inside the cabinet years before it was locked. According to him, the top drawer contained folders labeled with dates and names, while the lower drawers held small, unmarked tapes, recordings of conversations that were never meant to be heard. But the real shock came when he noticed a section at the bottom, hidden under stacks of papers. When he moved the clutter aside, he saw something that would haunt him forever. It was a photograph, just one. And it wasn't of Tim. It was of someone else. Someone looking straight into the camera, their face pale, their expression frozen, as though they'd been caught in the middle of something they shouldn't have been. "I don't know who it was," the worker said, "but I remember one thing. Whoever took that picture, they weren't supposed to." The moment he realized what he had seen, he backed away, unsettled. Not long after, Alan had the entire filing cabinet moved to a different part of the house, and from that day forward, no one was allowed near it. When the estate was eventually put on the market, Alan ensured that the cabinet was removed before any potential buyers could get a second look. But by then, the questions had already begun to circulate. What was in those files? The missing footage. As whispers about Alan's secret files spread, another chilling discovery surfaced, one that deepened the mystery even further. A longtime friend of Alan, someone who had worked closely with him, recalled a strange incident from years ago involving security footage that vanished without a trace. Alan's Hollywood Hills estate was equipped with a top-of-the-line surveillance system that covered every entrance, hallway, and key area of the property. Typically, the cameras were meant for security, to catch intruders or prevent theft. But at some point, Alan had become obsessed with reviewing the footage. He didn't just check it occasionally, he monitored it religiously, sometimes late at night, alone in his study. One evening, while visiting the house, his longtime associate noticed that Alan was visibly shaken. He had been reviewing surveillance footage on his computer. When his friend asked what was wrong, Alan refused to answer, abruptly shutting the laptop, locking the office, and ending the conversation. The next day, Alan had the entire security system wiped clean. Every recording, every backup file, every trace of footage was erased. The security company hired to manage the surveillance confirmed that the deletion wasn't an accident, it had been done intentionally. A full system wipe had left no recoverable data. The question that haunted everyone who heard the story was simple: why? What had Alan seen on his own security cameras that caused him to act so drastically? Some speculated that it could have been a stalker or trespasser, someone creeping around his property late at night. But if that were the case, why wouldn't he have used the footage as evidence? Others believed it was something far more personal, something within the house itself. Could it have been a private meeting he didn't want anyone to know about? Record of someone entering the sealed panic room? Or perhaps something even darker? The panic room's secrets began to unravel as the investigation continued, with rumors swirling about its true purpose. Originally thought to be a simple security feature, the panic room revealed itself to be far more sinister. A former contractor, hired to make repairs on the house years before it went on the market, came forward with a chilling account of what he had uncovered. He had been tasked with working on the panic room during a renovation and, in the process, accidentally discovered something hidden within the room's walls. Initially, his job had been simple. He was just supposed to make sure the room was functioning as intended. But as he worked, he noticed strange symbols etched into the walls, almost imperceptible unless you were looking closely. The contractor recalled that these markings weren't decorative. They seemed deliberate, like a code or language, though he couldn't make sense of them. When he asked Alan about them, he was told that they were simply part of the room's security enhancements. But the contractor couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The next day, he went back to inspect the space and found, to his horror, that the markings had been covered up. It was as though someone wanted to ensure they were never seen again. In the years that followed, rumors about the panic room's true purpose continued to circulate. Some believed it was meant to protect Alan's most prized possessions. Others theorized it was designed to protect him from threats that went beyond the physical. But one theory, which gained traction after the estate's secrets began to come to light, was that the panic room contained evidence of something far darker: documents, photos, or recordings that could destroy Alan's public image and possibly even endanger his career. The final revelation came when investigators were allowed access to the room during the estate's final inspection. What they discovered was far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Behind a false wall, in a hidden compartment, they found several manila folders and sealed envelopes, each containing cryptic notes. Some were handwritten by Alan himself, others compiled by someone else. Among the most shocking items found was a letter, heavily redacted and stamped with the words "classified, do not distribute." Once decoded, the letter revealed a deal gone wrong, a financial transaction that had spiraled out of control and threatened to ruin Alan's reputation in Hollywood. It became clear, the panic room was more than just a place for protection. It was a vault for Tim Allen's darkest secrets, secrets that he had desperately tried to keep buried. And what happened next? That's still a mystery, because the more questions that were answered, the more that remained unanswered. That's a gripping conclusion to the story. The eerie mysteries surrounding Tim Allen's estate paint a picture of something much darker lurking beneath the surface of Hollywood's glitzy exterior. As for whether I suspected something like this, well, it's hard to say. Celebrities often have complex personal lives, and sometimes things aren't always as they seem in the public eye. However, this tale of hidden rooms, secret files, and strange disappearances feels like a thriller straight out of a Hollywood script. It's a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and there's often more beneath the surface, especially in the world of fame and fortune. But with Tim Allen's life, this would have been hard to guess, even though strange occurrences often get attention. What do you think? Could there really be a hidden truth like this behind his public persona? Feel free to share your thoughts.